So Tulsi Gabbard was a campaign event recently in New Hampshire, and she came out in support of legalizing all drugs. Pretty awesome. So this is from Forbes. This is from Tulsi. If we take a step to legalize and regulate, then we're no longer treating people who are struggling with substance addiction and abuse as criminals, and instead giving them the help they need. The 2020 presidential candidate said at a campaign stop in Mary and Mack, New Hampshire on Friday. She was responding to a voter who asked whether her plan to end the war on drugs centered on more harm reduction and treatment, or if it involved moving to legalize and regulate narcotics, that you're no longer seeing tainted drugs on the street and involvement with the black market. The Congresswoman replied that her answer was all of the above. The costs and consequences of this failed war on drugs is so vast and far-reaching, socially and physically, that if we take these necessary steps, we'll be able to solve a lot of the other problems that we're dealing with in this country, she said. And then it goes on to talk about how she sponsored several marijuana bills while in Congress. Let's see. Michael Tracy. Tulsi tonight endorsed a proposal to legalize and regulate all drugs, not just marijuana, and rejected this was an extreme solution to end the war on drugs, cited the Portugal model where they decriminalize all drugs. And then, so this, as far as the Democratic candidates go, she is definitely the most progressive now as far as her calling to legalize all drugs. But Pete Buttigieg has endorsed simply decriminalizing possession of all drugs. Andrew Yang supports decriminalizing opioids and funding safe consumption sites, wants to make magic mushrooms more readily available. Joe Biden doesn't even want to legalize marijuana. Same with Michael Bloomberg. Bernie's in favor of legalizing marijuana, but he has stopped short of calling for the legalization of other drugs. So, but Tulsi Gabbard is totally right on this account. The war on drugs has been an extreme failure, wasting so much money that could have been used for so many other important things that this country needs, as well as locking people up for what they put into their bodies is just ridiculous. Not the United States or any country is not truly free if the people in that society do not have the right and the choice to decide what they put into their bodies and what they don't, as far as drugs or other substances. Not truly free if you don't have the autonomy to decide what you put into your body and what you don't. And we should be, like she said, treat it as a public health problem. And, you know, if people need treatment or services, that the money from legalizing and regulating all drugs could be used to support that. And also, it makes sense from a harm reduction standpoint. You legalize and regulate, you're not having that tainted drug supply, as that person who asked that question was referencing, so there'd be a lot less overdose deaths as a result of legalizing and regulating drugs. It'd also generate money for treatment and rehab and counseling and those type of services, as well as just funding other social service programs. And again, treat it from a public health perspective, not from trying to criminalize people for consenting adults for what they put into their own body. So super awesome to hear Tulsi come out in support of legalizing and regulating all drugs. It just makes sense from a moral and ethical perspective, from a physical perspective, and from a just sense of freedom. People, again, aren't free if they don't have the ability to decide what they are going to put into their bodies or not. And so kudos to Tulsi for coming out and saying that she's in favor of that. And I watched a Kyle Kalinske video that he did on this same topic, and he now has Tulsi in second behind Bernie, and I honestly agree with that. Warren has dropped way down my list, and Tulsi's foreign policy is a lot better than Elizabeth Warren's, and Tulsi's now calling for the legalization of all drugs. She's also not trying to backstab Bernie or throw him under the bus for any type of political gain, and she's actually stood up for Bernie and things like that. So I think Tulsi would be my second choice behind Bernie at this point. So would it be maybe a bad idea to have her as a VP, or maybe somebody like Nina Turner? But just my thoughts. What do you think about Tulsi Gabbard coming out and saying that she's in favor of legalizing and regulating all drugs? I think it's awesome, and I think we should have went that route a long time ago, and it would have been so much better in terms of the millions of people that have been locked up for non-violent drug offenses. That is just nuts, and all the money we've wasted incarcerating people and just the whole prison industrial complex. We could have used that money for so many better things. But so awesome to hear about Tulsi coming out and advocating for the legalization and regulation of all drugs. Those are my thoughts. Please share yours in the comment sections down below. Peace. Much love.